I transmigrated and became a wealthy stepmother. When I woke up, I found myself in another world, married to the father of a rich young master who would later become a notorious villain in Beijing. His future fate was truly bleak. Growing up cold and cruel, he would institutionalize his own father and force me to drink the elixir of forgetfulness, ending my life. He would also torture the girl who loved him, both physically and mentally. Only after the female lead's death would he realize the truth, embracing her ashes before jumping into the sea to commit suicide. What an utterly tragic and absurd story. Fortunately, this future final boss was currently just a 7-year-old child, an uncorrupted prototype. Unfortunately, I had transmigrated into the role of his cruel stepmother, and the child's father seemed to have serious mental issues. I held the little boy's face and said seriously, "Are you done stringing those beads? You can play only after you finish. Mommy needs to give these as gifts for business. Remember, from now on, we are part of Beijing's elite, and we must maintain a calm demeanor. Now, I'm going to tell you a joke, but no laughing, okay?" My transmigration happened right after I married Ethan Su, the young master's father. The wedding had just ended when the groom casually pulled his suitcase to the airport, announcing a 3-month business trip and leaving me with his child. Lucas Su and I looked at each other. The boy snorted, his gaze as cold as a knife as he brushed past me, then bowed his head, fiddling with a string of prayer beads. He was only 7, yet he looked as mature as an old man. I quickly replayed the plot in my head. The advantage: Lucas Su was only 7, so there was still a chance for him to change. The disadvantage: I was the villain, the one who had abused him until his spirit broke, accused him of being possessed, and sent him to a temple for over a decade. The original owner's fate was to have her organs harvested by Lucas Su and her body thrown into the sea. That kid truly became a vengeful monster. If he weren't the male lead, he'd surely have been tranquilized. Now that I was here, fate had to change. My advantage was having a face identical to Lucas Su's biological mother. This was a loophole I could exploit. I was about to change out of this heavy wedding dress into something more comfortable when suddenly, Lucas Su burst into the room, his voice cold. "Don't touch my mother's wardrobe." Damn, I forgot this crucial detail. In the original story, the original owner not only ransacked it but tore all of his mother's clothes. Valueless items were discarded, while valuable ones were kept to be sold or used. The only memento left was the string of prayer beads in Lucas Su's hand. Later, anyone who dared touch those beads was doomed. Even the female lead was ignored by him for an entire month just for accidentally brushing against them. I quickly slammed the wardrobe shut and pleaded in a low voice, "This wedding dress is too heavy. Do you have any clothes that fit me? Mommy's been standing all day, my legs ache so much I can't bear it. Can you help Mommy, sweetheart?" Lucas Su's cheeks flushed slightly, but he stubbornly replied, "Don't call me sweetheart. The clothes in the living room are fine. When, lead Mommy there, okay?" He turned and walked away, his voice still as formal as an official. "Don't call me when." "Then what should I call you? We'll be living together for a long time. Should I just keep calling you kid? Call me by my name, I am Lucas Su." "Oh, but it seems only little kids are called by their full name by adults." Lucas Su turned his head back to look at me curiously, then cleared his throat, avoiding my gaze. "It's nothing. I'm certainly not that kind." I walked into the living room to change, ignoring him standing right outside the door. "Humph wants to play mind games with me, does he? You're still too young for that. I bet he'll stay up all night wondering what kind of little kids I was referring to." The next morning, Lucas Su was up very early, already seated at the dining table. When he saw me, his face clearly showed resentment, as if he wanted to demand an explanation but was afraid of losing face. He was indeed a stubborn child. It would be surprising if he didn't fall deeply in love later. I smiled gently and sat down at the table. Suddenly, Lucas Su's expression turned gloomy. "I've told you already, I don't eat green vegetables or green beans." The maid, Auntie Jo, said impassively like a robot, "These are the master's instructions. Young master's meals must ensure a balanced nutrition of 12 types of food. You are not allowed to be picky." Lucas Su was furious and a little embarrassed to have an outsider like me witness this loss of face. He picked up his rice bowl and violently threw it to the ground. Auntie Jo gave a fleeting smirk of triumph, then became stern. "Butler Chen?" Lucas Su panicked. Then Butler Chen appeared, snatching the child like a kitten and turning away. Lucas Su squirmed and struggled wildly like a tiny lion. But against Butler Chen's burly physique, all resistance was futile. I was stunned, quickly standing up to block their path. "What are you people doing?" Butler Chen forced a smile but kept his distance. "Madam, I am taking the young master to the discipline room. He broke a rule, that is the master's house rule. He needs to know where he erred." "He's only 7 years old. Madam, this is a family rule. You've only just arrived and aren't familiar with it yet. You will understand gradually." "I can't get used to this. Release the boy now." Butler Chen subtly glanced at me. "Madam, this is the master's decision. You should wait for him to return and discuss it then. Otherwise, if the master is displeased, it will be difficult for us." "I said release him or get out of here right now." Butler Chen chuckled softly. "We have been with the Su family for over 20 years. Even the master himself was raised and disciplined this way. You've only been here a day and already want to change everything. It's not appropriate. You should find a way to curry favor with the master and secure your position first." Having said that, he simply dragged Lucas Su away, ignoring the boy's cries. Witnessing that scene, I felt dazed. Perhaps I had wrongly blamed the original owner. Lucas Su growing up to be a deranged individual was not solely her fault, but also due to his father, Ethan Su, and the servants in this house. I silently followed them to the discipline room. It was a small, dark room with no windows. Butler Chen opened the door and pushed Lucas Su inside. I immediately squeezed in after them. Butler Chen seemed annoyed, snorted, and slammed the door shut. In the darkness, Lucas Su was still crying, but when he saw me, he fell silent. I reached out to hold his hand, but he pushed it away. I tried again, and he pushed it away again. I whispered, "Can Mommy hold your hand for a moment?" "It's so dark in here, Mommy is scared." This time, I took his hand decisively. He didn't pull away but just turned his face. "Why did you follow me in here?" "Because Mommy is worried about you." "You're lying. I'm a bad child, nobody likes me." "Who said that? Mommy likes you. I just arrived here and no one cares about me, only you led me around. I've never seen a child as kind and lovely as you." He hesitantly said, "But I often complain about food, I throw bowls, I scold, and even hit people." His voice was a little helpless but carried a glimmer of hope for acceptance. My heart sank. I wondered what he had endured to judge himself so harshly. "Mommy also has foods she doesn't like, everyone does. Adults always cook what they like and then blame kids for being picky. It's not fair. If it were me, I'd throw the bowl too, just to show them. And as for scolding or hitting people, that just shows you know how to protect yourself. You're a strong child. Mommy likes you being strong." "Really? Adults are picky too?" "Of course, I hate broccoli. Have you noticed that bitter melon is never on our dining table? It's definitely because they don't like to eat it." I opened a food delivery app to show him. His eyes sparkled. "After we get out of here, make them eat bitter melon every day." "Okay." He visibly brightened and moved a little closer to me. I gently stroked his head. He seemed shy and turned his face away. Suddenly, he asked, "But yesterday you called me, that kid you meant I was a bad child, didn't you?" "Oh, you really have a good memory," I chuckled. "Of course not. I only said that children who do wrong are called by their full name. You haven't done anything wrong, I just want to call you more intimately." The corner of Lucas Su's mouth twitched slightly. He pretended to speak aimlessly. "Well, you can just call me Wen then." "My name is Selena Tran. How about you call me Auntie Selena?" Staying in the dark like this wasn't good. I tried to call Ethan Su but couldn't get through. My number must have been blocked. Lucas Su snorted coldly. "It's useless. Even when my mother was sick, he didn't bother to answer the phone." I was speechless. Lucas Su's mother, a woman deeply in love, had died in loneliness and despair. No wonder Lucas Su institutionalized his father when he grew up. Perhaps that was his greatest concession. A few hours later, Butler Chen opened the door. The outside light blinded me. I quickly shielded Lucas Su's eyes. Butler Chen maintained his fake politeness, but his eyes gleamed with mockery. "Madam is truly kind, but you should look out for yourself first. I've reported everything to the master. He said that if Madam continues to interfere next time, he might have you thrown into jail too." "Excellent." The butler he listened to, but me, he didn't care about at all. It seemed the original owner was just a decorative item in the house. I gave him a furious glare, hugging Lucas Su, who had fallen asleep as I walked out. Unexpectedly, Butler Chen snatched the child away from me. Lucas Su woke up, rubbing his eyes, looking at Butler Chen with anger. "The young master is 7. He must learn to be independent. Women shouldn't carry him." My anger exploded. Now I understood why Lucas Su grew up to detest women. With such a toxic person, reasoning was a waste of time. I quickly stepped towards a nearby table, grabbed a flower vase, and smashed it over Butler Chen's head. Crash! In my fury, my aim was perfectly precise. Blood streamed down his forehead. He looked at me with utter shock. I scoffed. Go ahead, tell Ethan Sue or call the police. Given the way you're embarrassing the Sue family, do you think Ethan Sue will keep you? Or go ahead and hit me. As long as I'm not dead, I'll expose everything to the media. Then we'll see if Ethan Sue fires you or divorces me. I've thought it through carefully. There can only be one master in this house. They have only two choices, obey me or get out. Butler Chen's eyes looked as if he wanted to devour me whole. I hugged Lucas Sue and walked straight to the main gate. Butler Chen blocked my way. Madam, where are you taking the young master? I smiled faintly, staring at him without uttering a word. Sometimes silence is a form of power. Sure enough, he began to panic. Go to the room and get my phone, I ordered decisively. Butler Chen stood rooted to the spot. I gave a cold laugh, seized the opportunity, and delivered a powerful kick to his backside, sending him flying straight into the dark room. Then I slammed the door shut. From inside, frantic banging echoed. Lucas Sue's eyes widened, a look of delight in them as he stammered, Auntie, is that okay? Are you happy? Yes, happy, but doing that isn't right. My mom used to teach. I winked, lowering my voice gently. But he bullied us. He did wrong and we punished him. That's fair, isn't it? Yes, it is. Lucas Sue was immediately convinced. I gave all the servants 3 days off. Everyone happily left. Only Auntie Jo was still confused, asking, Why don't I see Butler Chen? I scoffed. You only listen to him, don't you? He must be paying you. Let me tell you, if I could get Ethan Sue to marry me, I can certainly get him to fire you. You decide who the real master of this house is. Auntie Jo's face turned ashen. She silently packed her belongings and left. Lucas Sue seemed uneasy. Auntie Selena, my dad will surely come looking for you to settle accounts. Let him find us first, then we'll deal with it. I packed a few clothes, placed Lucas Sue on a suitcase, and wheeled him out of the house. Perhaps it was the first time the boy had ever sat like that. His whole body was stiff, his hands gripping the suitcase handle, trying to keep balance. He looked both funny and pitiful. I'll take you to play a game first, okay? Hold on tight. As I spoke, I pushed the suitcase forward, running. Lucas Sue giggled, his laughter as clear as a silver bell. I hailed a taxi, paid in cash, booked a cheap hotel room with someone else's ID, and took Lucas Sue on a trip. That way, Ethan Sue would have a hard time finding us. If he couldn't even bother to answer my calls, then he shouldn't expect me to answer his later. For the next few days, I took Lucas Sue everywhere, from riding carousels at the ocean park to bathing in hot springs, playing until we forgot our way home. Ethan Sue's assistant called. I answered, told him to release Butler Chen, and then blocked the number. Finally, Ethan Sue called. I let him experience the feeling of calling with no one answering. Lucas Sue asked worriedly, Auntie Selena, aren't you afraid of my dad? Afraid of what? Is your dad very scared? Lucas Sue was silent for a moment, then said, My mom was very afraid of him. Every time Dad came home, just seeing Mom would make him frown. That's a form of mental abuse. As a woman, choosing a good father for your children is the most complete way to love them. I stroked the boy's head. So you have to smile at me often, okay? In this house, I only know you. If you're cold to me too, I'll be heartbroken. I held out my pinky for a pinky promise with Lucas Sue. He paused, bewildered. He didn't even know such a simple game. Just then, a cold voice echoed from behind us. Selena Tran, what are you two doing? I looked up. It was Ethan Sue. He said he was on a 3-month business trip, yet he rushed back after only 4 days. Truly, a CEO whose words are like the wind. As soon as he stepped into the house, Butler Chen feigned sincerity, wanting to reach out and pull Lucas Sue. I immediately slapped his hand away. I remember my father-in-law's surname is Sue, not Chen. The fake smile on his face almost shattered. I pulled Lucas Sue onto the sofa, sat cross-legged, and smiled faintly. Oh, Butler Chen, you weren't so attentive a few days ago. You told me to try hard to please the master, and said you were the law of the Sue family. I thought I married into a wealthy family, but who knew the CEO actually had 2 fathers? I glanced at Ethan Sue, whose face turned as dark as the bottom of a pot. He was good at ignoring things and not engaging in arguments. Previously, Lucas Sue's mother always gritted her teeth and endured, but I was different. If he wanted to stay silent, he could just choke to death. Butler Chen was sweating profusely. Master, I never said such things. Then just open the camera and see. Butler Chen panicked, quickly trying to make amends. If Madam said so, then I must have made some mistake. I apologize, Madam. Are you saying that to appear pitiful and I'm being unreasonable? Ethan Sue, your wife is being bullied and you just stand there and watch. If so, I'll just take your son and leave for good. Before we married, you never said the butler was the one with decision-making power here. If I had known earlier, you should have just married him directly. What a waste of effort to marry me, I pouted, rolling my eyes to the sky. Lucas Sue looked at me with admiration. Ethan Sue's face was utterly dark as he ordered the camera footage to be checked. The camera was turned on. Instead of Butler Chen speaking insolently, it showed Auntie Jo secretly leading him back into the mansion, opening the door for him. The two even shared an intimate embrace. My eyes widened. I reflexively covered Lucas Sue's eyes. Butler Chen's face turned pale, while Auntie Jo's flushed red with shame. Ethan Sue said coldly, "Both of you are fired. Wait, keep playing." The next segment showed the two of them secretly discussing a plan to deal with me. There was a crucial line: "You thought Daisy Jiang of the Jiang family wasn't eventually disciplined into obedience like a dog by us. This one is just a money-hungry type. Let her perform for a few days, and her role will be over." Daisy Jiang was Lucas Sue's mother. Lucas Sue suddenly leaped up, pouncing on Butler Chen, punching and kicking him furiously. "You people conspired together to bully my mother? Die!" Ethan Sue was startled, as if struck by lightning, about to rush forward to stop his son. I blocked him. "Let Lucas vent his anger. They caused his mother's death. He has a right to be angry." Ethan Sue was silent. "The Selena Tran I know wouldn't say such things." I calmly replied, "Ah, I am her second personality. She's angry that you abandoned her on her wedding night, so she doesn't want to appear. Now I'm managing this house in her place. You paid once and got 2 wives, aren't you getting a great deal?" Perhaps Ethan Sue had never met anyone so good at making things up. He fell silent. Lucas Sue hit until he was exhausted, crying until his voice was hoarse. The boy stood there, solitary and fragile. Children raised with love would now seek an embrace for shelter, but he just stood still, motionless. I approached, gently embracing him. He struggled, but I didn't let go. "My good one, if you want to cry, just cry. I know you're a brave boy who wants revenge for your mother. If your mother were alive, she would surely be very proud of you." Lucas Sue buried himself in my arms, looking like a pitiful puppy. After Lucas Sue fell asleep, Ethan Sue and I had our official confrontation. The first thing he uttered was, "You cannot spoil Lucas Sue like that." See, I knew it. The familiar refrain of authoritarian fathers had begun. I was too lazy to answer, turning to Assistant Yang instead. "Check the camera retention time. See how many times old Chen confined when previously. Also, investigate Auntie Jo's cooking and how they treated Daisy Jiang." Assistant Yang hesitated, looking at Ethan Sue. Seeing he didn't object, he nodded and left. I glared at Ethan Sue. "What did you just say? Don't spoil children. How miserable was your own childhood that you think comforting a child is spoiling them?" This statement was like poking a hornet's nest. Ethan Sue suddenly grabbed my wrist, dragging me roughly upstairs. Oh my goodness, the classic domineering CEO pinning against the wall trope. "Help!" He pulled me into the room, slammed the door shut, pressed me against the wall, and then raised his hand to choke me. Just as expected, I was choking, feeling dizzy and lightheaded. When I was almost unconscious, Ethan Sue finally let go. I clutched my neck, trying to breathe, my throat burning. "Selena Tran, are you insane?" "Ethan Sue, listen carefully. If you dare lay a hand on me again, you'd better not expect a peaceful sleep. As soon as you close your eyes, I'll retaliate fully. I'm very skilled, especially when it comes to dealing with you." His face was cold. He angrily grabbed his jacket and drove away. I climbed onto the windowsill and shouted after him, "You can leave for good, but remember to transfer the monthly living expenses. Otherwise, don't blame me for selling everything in this house." Ethan Sue angrily kicked a tree trunk, then sped off. Finally, I got rid of that madman. The following days, life became quite comfortable. Every day, I trained the household staff and then took Lucas Sue out to play. When money ran low, I messaged Ethan Sue to transfer funds. He transferred them very regularly. All I needed was a husband who existed as if dead, capable of transferring money on time. In early August, Ethan Sue returned with a gloomy expression. Assistant Yang had finished reviewing the camera footage and discovered a horrifying truth. Within 3 months, Butler Chen had locked Lucas Sue up a total of 45 times. Auntie Jo cooked as she pleased, deliberately making dishes the boy hated to torment him. More seriously, it was about Daisy Jiang, Lucas Sue's mother. They frequently tricked her into believing Ethan Sue was coming home, making her happily prepare a lavish meal. At mealtime, they would pretend to announce he couldn't make it. They continuously gave her hope only to crush it. From anticipation to despair, she eventually became so weak that she contracted stomach cancer and passed away. Ethan Su furiously punched Butler Chen in the face. "Why did you dare do such a thing?" he smirked. "Didn't you yourself allow it, master? You said she was a shameless woman. We were merely helping you discipline her." My blood boiled. I kicked Butler Chen hard. "You think you're the master of this house? If you want to be a father, tell Ethan Su to adopt you." Afterward, the two conspirators were handed over to the police. Lucas Su was joyful, his heart visibly lighter. I took him to his mother's grave to share the good news. That night, Ethan Su opened up for the first time. He recounted his tormented childhood, his forced marriage to Daisy Jiang, and his self-loathing. He thanked me for caring for Lucas, hoping his son wouldn't follow in his father's footsteps. He needed to understand that pain doesn't justify mistakes. I told him, "If you don't change, there will come a day when you destroy the boy." Ethan Su sat dazed in the garden for a long time while I went to bed at ease. His problems were beyond my control. The next morning, Ethan Su presented me with a diamond necklace worth 50 million yuan. My heart pounded. After spending 10,000 yuan to have Mona Jiao appraise it, I finally dared to believe it was real. Witnessing this scene, Lucas Su sadly asked, "Auntie Selena, if one day my dad no longer has money, will you still treat me well?" I knew this was an important moment. I sat down and earnestly explained to him the difference between a reward and a bribe, about the value of genuine affection compared to material gain. What we have is true affection. "Even if your dad goes bankrupt, I will find every way to raise you properly. I hope that in the future you will also make friends with a sincere heart and not use money to buy affection." Lucas Su seemed to understand. He gradually became happier and more lively. At the end of August, Lucas Su was preparing for school. I was startled to discover he hadn't done his summer homework. Oh dear, even first graders have summer homework. That evening, Ethan Su came home. Recently, he had been coming home more often and even reading books on parenting. I handed him the stack of homework. "You're in charge of writing the diary and reading books. I'll handle the crafts and drawing. Lucas can do the math himself." Ethan Su nodded in agreement. Father and son toiled all day to finish it. In the end, Ethan Su had to admit a bitter truth. His intelligent son was actually terrible at academics. After the parent-teacher conference, I realized that no one at school dared to approach Lucas Su. The reason was that once, a friend accidentally dropped his prayer beads, and he immediately attacked the friend. Afterward, the old man Chen, referring to the previous butler Chen's family influence or a similar character, even went to the school to threaten the family. Back home, I couldn't help but mock Ethan Su. "CEO Su, you are so talented that you're too busy to teach your son proper social etiquette." He asked in confusion, "What should I do now?" "Transfer the service fee, and I'll help you teach him." After Ethan Su immediately transferred 1 million yuan, I began planning to help Lucas Su be more sociable, starting with giving small gifts to friends, and then helping him restring the beads himself so he would understand that even damaged commemorative items could be repaired, and there was no need to be overly strict. But this plan failed on the very first day. Lucas Su still sat by himself, not daring to speak to anyone. However, an unexpected event occurred. The entire class suddenly developed a craze for playing with prayer beads. The source was none other than Lucas Su, the first-generation Buddhist. The teacher invited me for a talk. After returning home, I felt both amused and helpless. After using strong measures, making him string a dozen beads for his friends, Lucas Su finally lost all interest in the beads. The trend passed. I put the boy's prayer beads in a safe, promising to return them when he turned 18. Time gradually passed, and Lucas Su slowly became a normal child. On a winter day, father and son secretly organized a birthday celebration for me for the original Selena Tran. Ethan Su gave me a black card and proposed. "Selena, I'm trying to change. Can you give me a chance?" I seriously refused. "I already told you I and Selena Tran are two completely different people. The one who married you was her. You now want to pursue me. Isn't that infidelity? I cannot be a third party." Ethan Su's face turned pale. Before leaving, he asked, "Then what is your name?" "Sophia Zia." After that incident, Ethan Su began seeking out psychologists. I had thought he genuinely wanted to change, but I was wrong. One day, I drank a glass of milk and woke up in a consultation room. In front of me was a doctor performing hypnosis. It turned out Ethan Su had deceived me. He wanted to use hypnosis to erase Sophia Zia, making me believe I was Selena Tran and that I loved him. "Wake up, Selena Tran, please try to love me." In my haze, I heard continuous banging on the door and Lucas Sue crying and calling for his dad. "Dad, open the door for me." It turned out that before falling unconscious, I had managed to use my smartwatch to send a distress message. Lucas Sue himself had led the police there. Ethan Sue was arrested. Although he didn't go to prison due to a diagnosed mental illness, he was admitted to a hospital for mandatory treatment. Before being taken away, he pleaded to see me one last time. He looked thin and gaunt, but his eyes shone with an unusual brightness. "How did you know I found a hypnotist for you? The way you look at me always contains absolute possessiveness." He chuckled and replied, "Then how did you manage to convince Lucas? Children have innocent and pure souls. Between me and his father, he chose to stand by you without hesitation." At the end of the meeting, Ethan Sue wanted to hand over the company and custody of Lucas Sue to me. I refused. "Even in the hospital, you must manage the company yourself. As for your son, I will take care of him." I handed him the divorce papers. He revised the compensation amount from $10 million to $100 million. $100 million for you, $10 million for her, on the condition that you don't tell Lucas we've divorced and please take good care of the boy. I agreed and proposed to work at the company to learn. He arranged for me to be Assistant Yang's assistant. As I left, he called out, "Please help me apologize to Lucas. Please educate him, don't let him become like me." From the room, choked sobs echoed. I dared not linger, quietly leaving. Even hateful people have a pitiful side, but Lucas Sue's future journey was still full of hope. In the vast mansion, now only Lucas Sue and I remained. After just one night, the boy had matured significantly. We still often visited Ethan Sue. Father and son spoke little, but a silent peace existed between them. When he entered middle school, Lucas became an excellent student. One day, I walked past the school and heard his friends call him, "The Buddhist of the capital, goodbye." Oh my goodness, I had worked so hard to remove that label from him. It turned out his classmates teased him because they found Lucas to have a Zen aura. I had tried hard to steer the boy away from the story's original path, but perhaps fate would find its way. Even a slight deviation over time would lead to immense differences. When Lucas Sue was in high school, Ethan Sue was discharged from the hospital. Instead of returning to live together, he bought a villa right next door. We still met regularly on holidays and festivals, and our relationship gradually became more comfortable. By the time Lucas was in 12th grade, I suddenly felt extremely tired, always wanting to sleep soundly. I had a premonition that I might be about to leave. I told Ethan Sue everything, then resigned from my job, dedicating all my remaining conscious time to being with Lucas. "I think I might just be returning to where I belong, not dying," I reassured Ethan Sue. After Lucas finished his university entrance exams, everyone went out to play together. I encouraged him to go out with his friends to leave no regrets. Ethan Sue and I watched his tall figure walk away with a pretty girl. What's that girl's name? Daisy Yu. This wasn't the female lead's name in the story. I probably wouldn't wait until then, but I hoped that no matter who it was, they would have a beautiful ending. That night, Ethan Sue and I walked until late. I leaned on his arm and drifted off to sleep. Before fully sinking into sleep, I felt him gently touch my lips. I thought, oh well, everyone makes a few mistakes now and then. On Lucas's 18th birthday, I completely lost consciousness. I felt weightless, my soul gradually separating from my body. I saw my body awaken, eyes slowly opening. But I knew the person inhabiting that body was no longer me. Ethan Sue stumbled, distraught, and collapsed onto the sofa. Lucas grasped Selena Tran's hand, the original owner's real name, trying to suppress his grief, and said gently, "Don't worry, just rest for a bit. I'll wait outside, call me if you need anything." The boy had done so well. He had known for a long time that I would leave. He was much stronger than I had imagined. Seeing him worriedly reassure Selena Tran first, I felt completely at peace. He had grown up. I sank into darkness, leaving this place forever. The moment Selena Tran left the Sue family home, she felt a sense of emptiness. After all that effort to marry into a rich family, she had to leave before enjoying anything. But she also felt fortunate. In a deep sleep, she had dreamed of her tragic fate and witnessed what Sophia Zia had done. Selena Tran suddenly realized that Sophia Zia's presence had not only saved Ethan Sue and Lucas Sue from danger, but had also, invisibly, saved herself. Before leaving, Lucas Sue gave her a letter left by Sophia Zia. The letter contained an apology for using her body for over a decade, and also left a bank account with over 200 million yuan as compensation for borrowing her body. "Thank you, stranger. Thank you for loving me so much." Selena Tran's eyes welled up with tears. Later, she continued to follow news about the Su father and son. She heard that they had purchased a grave for Sophia Zia, burying her next to Daisy Jiang. On the Kingaming festival, she also came to visit. She saw two tall figures standing silently before the grave for a long time, meticulously cleaning it before leaving in the drizzling rain. She stepped forward to look at the two gravestones. On Daisy Jiang's gravestone, engraved was, "The first flower mother taught me to recognize, its petals still bear the word mother." On Sophia Zia's gravestone was written, "O evening star, thou bringest all that the dawn scattered, thou bringest the children home to their mother." She read those lines over and over, truly a wonderful poem.